Hey guys, it's Deligracy here. I thought that today I would do a storytime video because you guys have been asking for more storytime videos on Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter, so here we go. Today I'm going to tell you children the times I almost died. Yes, believe it or not, I've had several near-death experiences that have been very scary, and afterwards I've thought, God, how could I be so stupid? Hopefully, if anything, this story is entertaining and you will learn not to be as stupid as I am, or I was, because I'm a very smart and intelligent and sophisticated woman right now. These are all fairly recent events, like in the last 5 or 6 years, like they're not that old. Probably the worst one was the time I almost died while camping. I really hope my mum and dad don't watch this because they're not going to be happy. Hi, Mom. Anyway, so I went camping with friends to a place called the Murray River here in Australia, in Victoria, and I was camping with a lot of boys, and a lot of those boys are tradies, so tradesmen are called tradies here in Australia. They also love camping, they have four-wheel drive, so we decided to go down with all the boys to the Murray and have New Year's Eve there, and it was really fun. Anyways, we had a ton of fun. I actually was allowed to go four-wheel driving in one of the guys' cars. This is not the point where I almost died. This was actually good fun. One of the boys actually let me drive his car through a river, and he was like, if you bog my car, like seriously, I'm gonna kill you. And then I bogged the car and he tried to kill me. Kidding. Jokes. That's not how I almost died. But basically, he was generous enough to let me drive his car through a river, and it was litty. Anyways, to get to the story, at one point on our camping trip, one of the boys said, oh, let's get the stand-up jet skis out, and a few of the guys brought out their jet skis, and they were zooming around on the lake. The part of the Murray River that we were on was really not that wide, and there were all of these cliff banks on either side. So, you know, it's quite a slim body of water to be using the jet ski on. One of the guys were like, oh, do you want to go on the stand-up jet ski? And I was like, yo, sounds good. Anyways, I got up on the jet ski, put the motor thing on, and kind of took off straight across the water. And I was coming up to a bend where I actually needed to turn it. The stand-up jet ski, and people were watching me back on the bank. But as I was going around the corner, I was like not turning. So as I went out of their view sight, I was like heading straight for the bank, and I could not figure out how to slow down. You know when you're in shock and you're kind of so scared that you just don't do anything? That's what I was doing. I was doing nothing, and I was just like, ah! And the bank was like coming closer and closer to me. I was like, ah! Then all of a sudden I was like, screw this. And I just jumped off the jet ski, just flung myself off. And of course, as soon as you release, the jet ski stops the motor. So I flung off into the water. The jet ski like catapulted through the air. The guys, because I had gone out of their view sight, literally thought I had crashed into the bank and probably died. Anyways, I was fine. I wasn't injured. I was absolutely fine. I swam back to the jet ski. I got on. I went really slowly and turned back and brought it back to shore. And the guy who lent the jet ski to me was just like, Maddie, I seriously thought you were a goner. Like, I thought you were gonna die. And it was so scary, and I never went on a jet ski ever again. There was another time that I almost died, actually, in my own house, in the comfort of my own home. I was really keen for popcorn, and we had this old popcorn machine since I can remember. I remember making popcorn when I was like 5 years old with this machine, and when I was like 17 years old, we still had the popcorn machine, and it was like this bright yellow thing. It was awesome. I decided I wanted to have some popcorn, but the old machine was pretty gross looking, so I was like, oh, I'll just wash it. So as I did, I filled up the sink with some suds, bubbles, hot water, got the popcorn machine, dumped it in the sink, gave it a wash, didn't think about the power supply under the base of it, that perhaps when water mixes with power, that's not such a clever idea. Took it back to the power point, switched it on. It like gave off this spark and made this terrible sound. And then our entire house was cut from power. Like it cut our whole house out. I think mum was on the computer or something and it just went black, all the lights off. And my mum and sister are like, Maddie, you are seriously stupid. Like, why would you wash an electronic utensil in the sink and completely submerge it and then plug it in and turn it on? And I was just like, well, I thought it was fine because I tried it. That was not my finest moment. It's probably like the equivalent of putting a fork in a toaster. Like, everyone knows not to do that. The last time I almost died was probably the most stupid thing I've done. And yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. My friend and I were out one night. We were partying, and we had a great time, you know. We were having girls' night out, we were boogieing, we were having some drinks. We needed to get home, but we were kind of stranded because it was really late. So she was like, I can get one of my friend's brothers to pick us up. I think it was a friend's brother or like one of my friend's friends. And I was like, oh, okay, sounds good. Anyway, this guy came to pick us up, and I didn't realize at the time, but he was intoxicated. Like, he was not okay to drive, but I didn't realize that he wasn't, and neither did she. And anyways, we hopped into his car, and he backed out of the car park and backed straight into another car, didn't notice, and drove off with us in the car. And I was like freaking out. My friend was freaking out. She's like, we need to get out of this car. And luckily her house was only like 2 minutes away, because I was like, okay, I want to hop out of the car. And she was like, it's okay, the house is just around the corner. So we went around the corner and he dropped us home. Then I hopped out of the car with my friend. I was like, oh my God, we could have died just then. That was the most stupidest thing. Like, you do not hop in cars with people who can't drive. Like, you just don't do that. That's so stupid. I was so angry at myself. And then as he took off, he backed out the driveway, backed into a car parked opposite the driveway, and drove off. That has to be one of the stupidest things I've ever done. But in all fairness, I didn't realize at the time, but I've definitely been way more careful since then. Anyways, those are a few of my stupid little stories. Let me know if you want more story times. I do have many embarrassing stories, but hopefully you can learn from my mistakes and not make the same mistakes, because they are nasty, nasty pasty. Let me know about your near-death experiences. I would love to know about anyone who has been more stupid than I am. It would make me feel a lot better. Anyways, you guys, I hope you're having a lovely morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. I will speak to you too. I will speak to you soon.